Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Boom, 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 boom. Ah! First of all, I really want to thank all those who were able to endure through my really rough videos before for the beta test. They were narrationless and kind of rough to watch, but I really appreciate all those who were able to get through it. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The CryoWar Beta has been out since last Friday, which was the 10th of December, 2021. I've had it since then and been able to play a bunch of hours. And before we get into the meat of today's topic, which is the demo, I just want to say I freaking love this. It's super fun, and we're going to go over all the positives and everything like that. But man, I'm excited to play it. I really cannot wait for more people to play it because it's gonna be so great. But I'd like to make it clear that this video is not sponsored. I'm not being paid by the CryoWar devs or anything like that. So if I sound biased, it's literally because I genuinely like this game and I think extremely positively about the future of the game and where it's gonna go. So what we're going to talk about today are the positives and the things that I see as being awesome about this game and where I think it's going to go in the future and how they move into the future, each one of these positives. And then we're going to talk about some quick bug fixes I think that the devs could take almost no time to really fix. And then we're going to talk about the features that can be improved as well. Not necessarily bugs, but not necessarily like super polished aspects of the game. Let's see what happens. Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I just recorded everything for the video, but guess what? It was muted. Isn't that neat? So fun. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, let's go over the positives. First, it's beautiful. Graphics are clean. It's really great, especially in game while you're playing. It looks so good. The effects animations look great. There's no latency issues. There's no like pixelated weirdness that comes up. There's no artifacts that I can see. I really enjoy the graphics in general. It's very fast. There's no lag issues in between movement and the way the hero responds. There's no lag in between when the projectile hits one of the enemy combatants. It's awesome. It's really seamless on that. Fast load times from screen to screen to screen, from matchmaking into the game itself. The UI is super clean. There's not a lot of unused space or poorly used space. So there's not a lot of areas where you're like, oh, you could put a button there for this thing, or take that button out because it's too much. It's really well done. And then the gameplay modes, there's only one right now, which is Behemoth. It's actually really fun. But what's really cool is that there are so many other gameplay modes. It's one of the big things that makes me excited for the future of the game is if this one mode that's pretty simple, go after it's hunt, and you go after the Behemoth and you fight a lot of PvP battles. As you can see in the background gameplay, it's me versus the other two enemy heroes trying to defeat the Behemoth. And then if this simple gameplay mode is this fun, I can't imagine how much fun the other ones are going to be. I'm going to enjoy all of them, it looks like. The thing that is most positive for me is it's hella fun. And what I mean by that is at first, because I wasn't doing too well, I was like, okay, this is fun, but let's see where this goes. And the better I got at the heroes and their abilities, the more fun I was having, which is absolutely such a key aspect of any game, that if you get better at it, it gets more fun. I felt that way about sports, and I feel this way about games too. If you have a low barrier of entry and everybody pretty much just plateaus because it's really simple, it gets really boring for me. But for me, when I get better at something, I enjoy it more. And I know a lot of you are like that. Since you are like that, you're going to love this game. Those are my big positives. But because there's so much potential for skill increase and enjoyment as your skill goes up, I think that's one of the key features of the game that's going to propel it forward and really sustain it through the next 5 years. Hopefully it goes longer because of this aspect and because there's so many gameplay modes. Overall, those are my positives. I can't wait to play with the rest of you guys because you're going to enjoy this too. All right, now we're talking about bug fixes. There's not a lot going on that I would say these are big bugs or anything like that. They're actually very small. It seems like they'd be fixed relatively easily. The biggest one for me that I had a bit of an issue with is when I would launch a projectile, it looked like it was colliding with something that was either unrendered or the projectile itself was not rendered. You'll also watch me, I'll be going in one direction with an ability and it just spins 180 degrees and bam, I send it into a wall. And I'm like, what the heck? I noticed that it's just super sensitive, or sorry, it's one of two things. It's either super sensitive, the directional for the ability, or I'm just not so good at like rotating my thumb correctly, because if I do this or something, like I barely move it, it might just flick it the other way. And so that's on me. If it's the other thing where it's reading that small rotation, because I'm human, I'm gonna mess that up. It's reading that as a change of direction and it immediately fires it in a different way. So it might literally just be the way my thumb rotates on the screen. It might just be the oversensitivity. The only other thing for me that kind of got distracting was when I was selecting my heroes on the like little Spartan helmet, I would select the grayed out helmet thinking it would switch over, and half the time it does. The other half of the time I actually have to click on the highlighted helmet for it to switch to the hero that I want to change and make a change to for that slot. So again, not a lot of stuff going on for a beta. It's really clean. I really can't wait for the other modes, because with such a limited amount of bugs, and again, like half of these aren't even bugs, these are just references. And then obviously the biggest bug that I experienced was when I got launched off, and you'll see that in the background gameplay. I fell for like 30 seconds, there's no bottom, and then the match ended, and yeah, I still won because I'm that good. But that was the biggest bug that I saw. Other than that, again, super minor stuff. Good work so far, really easy to fix these things. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is the small things that aren't actually bugs, but they're features that should or could improve and it'd make the game experience better. The first one is when you're selecting your first hero or your second hero, if it's already been selected on the opposite slot, you can't do it. So you have to switch to the hero that you want to not change it to something that's unselected, and then go back to the original hero that you want to change for that slot. Better use of that is just once you click the hero that you want in the slot that you want, it automatically reselects to something else, so that you don't have to do all the switching and moving around. The other thing is, it'd be really cool is your directional circles, if you could customize where they are. I know that might be purely my preference, but I think a lot of people would really like that. You could go into the settings, rearrange it, and then lock it in. The other thing that I think would be really great is, I know that as an ability regens, there's like a little shading thing until it's fully regen, and it'd be really cool to have a small heads up display of the timer itself. I would probably put it at the top thirds in the center of the screen. One other thing that I would suggest for gameplay is when you're doing your fast movement ability or your blinking ability, is that instead of giant red X's, they just gray out, and if you're confused or whatever, there should be a tooltip that pops up in between each round. But that might even be covered in the tutorial, which if it is, then it'd be even easier just to gray it out. I think the big red X's are a little distracting. And then the last thing is, when you're in the menus, there's descriptions for each of the abilities, but some of them don't really explain exactly what's going on. Or the biggest confusion that I have comes from the Valkyrie ability for the lightning strike, if I remember from the white paper or from the site itself, and it helps increase your damage output. There's nothing on the actual ability screen. It just says you get struck by lightning, essentially. And so it'd be cool to either have a tooltip where like you press and hold on the ability and then it pops up and there's more information, or include just a little bit more in that description area. Other than that, there's really not a lot of stuff. I mean, this is all preferential, and this isn't big stuff that's game breaking or even very distracting from the actual gameplay. Other than that, I don't really see anything. If you have any comments, or if you see anything, whether it's positives or whether it's like little bugs or what looks like bugs, ask me questions, let me know. If there's something that you think can improve, let me know in the comments. But honestly, huge Look, I really want you guys to include me in your engagement with this game, and I want you to comment, I want you to like, subscribe, whatever. But the key here is that you get this information to the devs themselves, so you're gonna do that best if you're part of the Discord. Join the Discord, be active, let them know what you think, ask questions, because if you ask me, which I would love and I'm gonna respond to, there's gonna be a small time lag from you asking me these questions to me getting them to the devs. To cut that in half, go straight to the devs, engage here, tell me what you like, what you want to see, all that stuff, but really remember to also participate in the Discord. that's the review for today. I want to thank you for being here. I want to especially thank the CryoWar devs for letting me be part of the beta, because this is awesome. I'm really glad to be able to produce this content for you so that you can actually see what the game looks like, because I know a lot of you are super excited. I was super excited, and there was so little out there of gameplay and all this other stuff, and now we got a bunch of people who are in the beta, and I'm really grateful for that I get to be a part of this. If this video was helpful, just make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that bell notification, because it's really going to help me out to know if this is the type of content that you want to see. Other than that, let's see what happens.